Hello everybody, yeah, it's Wyvern here with a video that's a bit delayed, but meant to discuss the new Legendary Lords for the upcoming Hunter and the Beast DLC, as well as the dev diary in regards to the new maps. And unfortunately I just wasn't able to get onto it until a bit late, but there is quite a bit to cover, and I think quite a bit of new implications in what we have coming. And without further ado, let's kind of dive in and discuss some of the Legendary Lords and later some of the new maps that we will be seeing. So, first and foremost, Nakai the Wanderer, coming in with the Lizardman, with his own new faction. The Wanderer leading his horde, and so this is the first effect. He's well, it says faction effect, but really it's just a trait, I suppose. Nakai is a horde, and interestingly enough, his horde seems to unlock units rather than using global recruitment. Now, I'm not sure if this means it's in the Tomb King sense, where you unlock them, or you say get a building and it gives you like 4 Crocsgores or something, or if it's like quest type stuff where you can recruit them like a Regiment of Renown or a Blessed Spawn or that sort of thing. I'm not entirely sure how that is going to work, but it definitely seems an interesting take on the Horde faction. I'm definitely excited to see how exactly that plays out. Second of all, vassals. You have vassals who do your occupying for you, and then these settlements that they occupy, you can then put like shrines to specific old ones there and get more rewards. And these, of course, will stack the more of them you've built. So that is definitely another cool thing for Nakai there. Definitely an exciting take on the horde mechanic, because currently both Chaos and Beastmen are quite frankly a bit dull. And depending on how these mechanics play out, we might see feels like more of a Norska-esque horde. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see how exactly it pans out, and if these changes will impact future changes, because obviously Chaos and Beastmen are probably, and I'm really hoping they do, get a bit of an update and rework and revamp. So we'll see how these changes will impact those factions. Perhaps maybe if these are like really good changes, we will see these in the future as well. Next up, he also does have recruit rank +3 for Crocsgore Ancients. This is kind of meh. Like, honestly, who really cares? It's okay. It's obviously nice because you do get the extra movement speed right away, and you can start investing in your yellow line, or maybe. Well, actually, I suppose there's one benefit to it potentially. If you've got a horde growth skill early on in your blue line, then you could potentially start doing a horde growth very quickly. But besides that, it seems like kind of meh improvement. +3 general rank usually isn't the most critical thing ever. Also the new general, the Crocsgore Ancient, just seems so weird. Like, what kind of Crocsgore leads an army, really? Maybe as a hero it would make sense, but like Crocsgore is as dumb as a brick. It's like, obviously there's one-off Crocsgores like Nakai, or you've got the rare. It's just like you've got rare trolls like Throg who happen to have the intellect to lead something, but Crocsgores aren't really like that, and it just doesn't make sense that there would be a lot of Crocsgores that can lead much of anything. It's like having multiple trolls lead. It's like if Throg could recruit troll generals. It kind of takes away the uniqueness of Nakai, in my opinion. Then we do have Lord effects, so we do have the melee defense boost to Crocsgores, potentially very potent. You do get bonus. You obviously start with some Crocsgores, so it's a nice little benefit to them, and it will make them a little tankier. Now, the main benefit, in my opinion, here will be for the Sacred Crocsgores, who are supposed to be an all-rounder. So I feel like by late game, you're probably going to ditch normal Crocsgores and mostly be running Sacred Crocsgores, just to have that all-rounder potential. But definitely, I feel like the 5 melee defense, it's 25% increase on normal Crocsgore MD. It's only 26, I believe, on them, so almost 25% improvement. Almost 20% improvement. And that's going to be, well, I can't math, it's late, but they definitely should be pretty solid. Once again, I apologize for that cricket. He is being loud. Recruitment cost reduction for Crocsgores, that's kind of pathetic. 10%, who really cares? But I guess it's something. It's like 100 gold off on a normal Crocsgore unit, and it's going to be like, I'd assume 120 to like 150 gold off on Sacred Crocsgores. So it adds up if you have an army of them. No mounts, of course, and 2 items, the Golden Tributes as well as the Ogum Shard. Now, not too much of a lore nut when it comes to Nakai, so I'm not entirely sure what these would entail, but I would assume some sort of ward saves will be involved here, and I would also assume that there might be, especially the Golden Tributes, because Nakai gets like all these tributes and these tokens of and sort of almost religious icons from skinks. I would assume that there might be something, some benefit here to sort of gold payments from allies, or some benefit to your relations with your vassals and that sort of thing, or maybe relations with lizards in general. So definitely should be interesting to see what exactly these quest items grant you. Now going on to start positions, we do have the lovely map here. He's going to be starting in the Eye of the Vortex, keep in mind he's a Horde faction, so he will be starting in the heart of Lustria here, or I guess the northern area of Lustria, but still. It's a crowded area. There's going to be a lot of legendary foes to fight. You got Teclis, you got Khalida, you got Ikit, you've got Skrulk, you got 10-in-1, who of course you can ally with, you got Luther Harkon, and you're going to have the Empire's forces postured up in the north here. So you're going to be surrounded by foes and have some potential for allies and vassals and the Lizardman forces. And I think it should definitely be a fun and sort of intense gameplay style. But you should have plenty of room. In my opinion, it shouldn't be that difficult because you should have retreat space. If you play your cards right and get allied with other Lizardmen, which I feel shouldn't be too difficult, you should then be in a very strong position to fall back and retreat if things start going south for you for whatever reason. Also, Kroxigors are pretty strong against a lot of these factions you fight early on, especially Dawi, as well as Skaven, who tend to have these very infantry-centric armies that Kroxigors happen to bash really well. So if Nakai is able to get early access to Kroxigors, or even just his early Kroxigor armies, he should be able to clobber them pretty well. The only army here that's really going to be challenging, in my opinion, would be like the Dark Elves, because they've got Dark Shards, obviously. Now, on the Mortal Empires map, it's much more interesting. Now, obviously, Albion is getting scaled up. It's going to have more regions involved and be more in-depth, and probably going to start with a vassal faction there. But it's definitely an interesting spot for Lizards. You're going to have a lot of enemies around you and a lot of potential areas to strike out to. Honestly, it's kind of the same case in Lustria, but even more so now because you can go after the Norskins, you can go after the Dark Elves. These guys are most likely going to hate you. I can't imagine Empire being too friendly. And keep in mind, the Empire is also being updated. They're getting new Elf regions, new Greenskin regions, and provinces in their territory there. So we're going to be seeing more potential enemies here to fight. And you can strike out into Bretonnia, which is everyone's usual punching bag, and that could also be potentially beneficial. So you can have a lot of options and a lot of opportunities and a lot of ways to play Nakai, in my opinion. The one happy thing, though, is that you're very isolated from other Lizardmen. So your potential, depending on how good your relations are with some of these other factions, your ability to get trade, well, I guess you don't have trade as a Horde faction, but your ability to sort of get safe passage or get alliances is going to be very difficult. And the ability of your allies, depending on what their limits are or what their ideal terrain is going to be, there could be also sort of difficulty for your allies to try to occupy territory you raise. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, for his unique skills, first and foremost, he does get extra leadership aura size, as well as character aura leadership effect. Now, this, in my opinion, is borderline worthless, because Lizardmen don't really route to begin with. Feral units can have some issues with it, but not much, to be honest. Especially not against AI, which usually sucks. So, this is a little meh. Demon Crusher, once again, charge bonus not too significant. Weapon strength, he's probably going to have some monstrous weapon strength. Plus 10% on what's probably going to be like 450 to 500 weapon strength is a tangible boost. That's going to be like 45, 50 extra strength. And, you know, that'll make him pretty nasty. He's already probably going to be one mean mofo in close combat, and this should make him even worse. Now, cold-blooded reflexes, this is something that's really cool. Gives him terror and gives him discourage. So Lizardmen, already a decent faction for rampaging through enemy lines and causing fear, terror, bombing them like that. So discouraged is just going to make that even more crazy. So minus 16 leadership, you get some items or some spells, and you debuff that leadership even more, and holy hell, you are going to be nuking enemies. They're going to be fleeing from you, and this could be very potent, even on higher difficulties, especially against factions like the Greenskins or Skaven, or factions like that. First spawning, big buff to speed, 10% for your whole army. Makes Kroxigors much more mobile. Also gives them Frenzy, which is going to make your Kroxigors a lot more versatile, especially base Kroxigors, who only have 26 melee attack. That's pretty terrible. And they obviously compensate for this versus infantry with 20 bonus, but versus normal units, this is versus large units, this is a problem. They don't really get that benefit. So with Frenzy, they're going to be up to 34 melee attack. And their other stats are all respectable, so this will make Kroxigors much more competitive against large, in my opinion, and should bump those Sacred Kroxigors, who I assume will be Fimir or Minotaur tier for stats, to a much more brutal sort of standing. Adornments also seem pretty cool. More casualty replenishment rate, always a useful trait. And Horde Growth +3. This is very strong. If you can get this early, Horde Growth is often make or break for a Horde, and this could be like a game changer here. Make your Horde that much quicker to build up. Like +1 on Sigvald is already a huge game changer for Chaos. So like +3 on a character is huge. The final one here, Sacred Wanderer, honestly kind of worthless in my opinion, because who cares about Unbreakable on a... Once again, like I mentioned, the leadership thing on the Lizards, they don't really break. Similarly, your Lord isn't going to break if you're playing your cards right, especially a big brawler Lord who is probably going to beat the snot out of everybody who tries to fight him. So the Unbreakable, I feel, is a bit pointless. Going to the gallery, there are actually a few things to mention here. Scrolling through real quick, yeah, we've got these images before. We can see some of his starting options. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this is Vortex or if this is Vortex or Mortal Empires. It is a little tough to tell, but plus because we're getting all these faction changes as well. Though actually, never mind. I'm a dullard. This is actually going to be Vortex, obviously, because he just starts in this area in Vortex. So we can see some of his starting options. He's going to start with the revered Croc scores as well as normal Croc scores. So yeah, I'm stupid and didn't think of it through. But so yeah, this is Vortex campaign. He's going to get these 2 free units, which is definitely cool. I'm kind of a bit curious to see what he's going to get in Mortal Empires. But yeah, got Croc scores right off the bat. Going to be pretty potent. Going to let you expand. You can see great relations with the Lizardmen. Factions. You also can see the targeting on the enemy heroes. You want to try to kill off the enemy heroes, and you're building up your relations or your veneration for certain lizard gods. And we can see that here. It's much like the Norse mechanic, where after you take a settlement, you're able to dedicate it to your gods, to Itzel, where you can summon Razordons here, you can see, and stuff like that. So that's definitely going to be a very cool option for sure. Here's just a picture of Angry, and this is back to the beginning. So either way, it is definitely very interesting to see these new mechanics in play. I'm definitely excited to see. Like, I feel like this is really what this could be the first good Horde faction. Like, Chaos has been okay, and Beastman has been abysmal, and I feel like this could be the first Horde faction that actually plays out all right and is kind of entertaining and fun to engage in. So definitely excited to see how this works, and excited to see the other options that we've got present and how that synergy with your vassals plays out. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. And besides that, we of course do have Wolfheart, and I'm much more excited for this guy. Like, look at this emblem; it's so great. That Cygor, like, riddled with arrows. But Wolfheart has some great abilities as well. He's, first of all, though, he's got a limited roster, and it says only basic units. I'm not entirely sure what that entails. If that only means like Empire State troops, or if it only means like tier 3 or lower units, so you can get like Reichsguard Knights, or if it just means like no heavy cav and no artillery. I'm not sure what that exactly means. But it's definitely going to be interesting. The fact that you have to get reinforcement by being more hostile to your enemies and sort of gaining your favor with the Emperor and with Emperor's Mandate effect and that sort of stuff to try to garner more reinforcements. It's definitely going to be an interesting take on Empire. Because normally you blitz up to those high tier units with Empire to get that staying power. But this is going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting take. Recruit rank +3 for Huntsman Generals. Similar thing with the Croc score. Well, actually, yeah, the Croc score, but with the Nakai. It's kind of meh. It's cool. Plus 10% move speed is nice. But in this case, you can't even get faster core growth, so I'm not sure how useful that'll be. And then worse relations with lizards, which who really cares? You're probably going to be warring all the time to build up your roster anyway. Of course, he has no mount option. I'm actually a big fan of this. I'm sick and tired of seeing factions that have mounts, or lords that have mounts for no reason, really. It's actually been something that's really kind of bothered me with the recent spate of DLCs, that CA has just kind of lazily given everybody a big mount. It's like, you get a mount, everybody gets a mount, and I feel like it takes away some of the uniqueness of these characters. So it's going to be cool to see Markus on foot. Ambush defense and success chance, huge boosts, +50%. Going to be fun. You're going to be able to jump people with a horde of archers because your archers and huntsmen are dirt cheap, -50%. Finally, we do have the Amber Bow. Now, this is a quest item. Personally, I've given the way other bows for Lords work. I assume it's going to give you a magic missile of some sort, and perhaps maybe like a bonus for charge or something. Should definitely be interesting to see what exactly boosts you, but should be a fun item. The upkeep reduction is going to be insane because we're about to see some serious buffs in just a little bit that synergize with that. Now, unlike Nakai, your starting position is essentially identical, whether you do Mortal Empires or the Eye of the Vortex. The one interesting thing, though, I think, is that if you do Mortal Empire, both sides, in both cases, you're going to be surrounded by enemies. There's going to be a lot of fighting, probably, except maybe with High Elves, you might be able to like trade with. Obviously, the Lizards hate you, and everybody else here hates you. Skaven, maybe Teclis you can trade with, but by and large, everyone here is going to hate you. So I do think there might actually be potential. Like, you run a hero up to Reichland, try to get a view of the Empire, and then maybe you might be able to sort of conquer Lustria while at the same time confederating Empire with the new confederation mechanics that we're supposedly getting. So that's definitely an exciting potential sort of opportunity here. Because obviously if you play as like Karl Franz in the Reichland, or you play as Gelt in Solent, you're only confederating the Empire. But this way you can be winning territory here while confederating Empire. And it's going to be, I think, potentially a fun experience. And definitely that's something I'm excited So that should definitely be, well, it should be interesting. Because that's going to be a new way to play Empire. And obviously Empire now is going to have 3 start positions. Which is, well, exciting as a person who loves Empire and campaign. Now, as for his unique skills, best of the best, extra recruit rank, always a nice thing. Not sort of game breaking, but always nice to have. Impervious to attack, boosts his own survivability. Once again, you're Footlord, so your survivability is already pretty good. Not that important, but it's really these next 2 that are where it gets good. Master Survivalist, more campaign movement range, more replenishment, more line of sight. Huge buffs. Like, this is going to be insane. These are some major buffs for just 1 skill. The line of sight, not so great, but like the movement speed and the replenishment rate is great. Plus 10%, you're going to be able to replenish your army in no time. Especially stacked on some other campaign effects. Or maybe like a warrior priest. A regular elite, reduced upkeep for huntsmen and archers. So you're now down to 65% reduced upkeep. And you can stack that, I think, with Quartermaster, which I assume he's going to have, and then your end tier skill, which so potentially another minus 23%. You could be looking at minus 88% upkeep on your huntsmen and archers, which is nuts. Melee attack plus 8 for huntsmen should make them a good hybrid unit, and missile damage plus 10%. So this is on top of your other Empire upgrades to your archers. It's going to be nuts. Like, this is going to be a lot of damage, and we're not even done here, because then we got double shot from sleight of hand, which is going to make your huntsman even more insane. Like, imagine anti-large, and reload speed reduction too, but like anti-large ranged units that shoot 2 projectiles at once, like swift shiver shards that probably have more range and do double shots. That's going to be insane. And like against factions that have lighter armored troops, it's going to be death sentence in campaign. Then you got Telescopic Aim, which gives him armor sundering, so now he can armor sunder units for his archers to melt. And finally, Grand Hunts Marshal, which, not that great. Like Vanguard deploy and immune psychology is nice, but not that critical for an army that's going to kite and snipe. But still, these are regular elite, sleight of hand, and master survivalists look insane. I think Markus is definitely getting the winning hand here compared to Nakai. Now here we do have a view of the units you're going to be getting in campaign. I do believe this is Mortal Empires, I want to say, but it can be a little difficult to tell. I do believe because you have 3 units, and normally in Vortex you only get 2. But you do have. He gets the huntsman, he gets the archers, and then he actually does get the war wagon. And this is cool to see because it actually gives insight into how the war wagon plays. We can see that it's actually, and this is on ultra settings, but it appears the war wagon's actually got a 4 unit or 3 model. It's a 3 model unit, so it's going to be a pretty regular chariot unit. It means you've got essentially 18 outriders in the gun crew, probably with a lot more ammo. So it's going to have some nasty potential for a lot of damage, and this is definitely going to be exciting to see just how it plays out. Definitely a little worrisome if the damage is insane. And this also means that likely the Hellblaster and the Mortar will also be a 3-man piece, a 3 model unit. So definitely some exciting stuff there. Good to see that it's going to be big. Then of course we do have our generic pictures of the heroes and stuff we already saw. Temple of Tenklin, we can't really see much here. I just see sort of what your starting stuff is. On turn 1, you get a barracks, which, you know, not exactly impressive. And yeah, that is that. But definitely cool to see this specific loadout and the fact that the wagons are going to be 3-man. So definitely some exciting stuff there for Wolfheart. Some exciting stuff for Nakai. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the potential changes to Horde factions in the future. Finally, the Dev Diary, and this is actually something I wanted to discuss a little bit because it's potential for new maps. Now, personally, when I play campaign, one of the few mods I really like is GCCM, which of course grants you a whole slew of cool-looking maps and sieges, especially, and like cities based on like lore or like blurbs, or sometimes like Helmgarts, for example, based on the Vermintide map, which is pretty awesome. But we're now getting some new and cool, actually cool siege maps. You can see here we have some of the siege maps for the Empire forts. And we're actually getting layered defenses. You can see we've got like these wide alleys and wide streets, and you've got multiple layers of gates and like sweeping sort of streets where you can try to flank around. And yeah, it's seems to be a huge improvement to the previous siege mechanics or the siege builds we had, where you just have one line of walls that you breach and it's all over. So this is definitely exciting stuff. We're going to see, like, it's less about these new forts and more about the fact that we might see new maps in general, and maybe CA will go back and overhaul some of these cities in the future, or maybe give us some cooler city sieges. They're kind of responding to some of the criticism that we've been handing out about the siege maps, and like a lot of people, let's be honest here, are not fond of the sieges until Warhammer. AI might be able to handle them better, but ultimately they're pretty garbage. So yeah, it's going to be cool to see. Hopefully AI can handle these. If they can't, then this could be kind of crappy. But if AI can handle them, it's going to be definitely very cool to have these new layered defenses and sort of defense in depth situations where you can fall back to ever deeper positions of entrenchment. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see this, see these changes. And well, that's about it, I guess. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you found it fun and entertaining. And if you have your own comments, thoughts, and opinions down below, be sure to post them, and I will do my best to respond as soon as I can. I'll definitely be posting more content in the upcoming days, of course, because this is some very exciting news. And yeah, be sure to stay tuned for that. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.